5 years after fleeing from the tragedy that claimed his wife and son, CEO Liam Corbin stepped from his limousine into the rain, facing the steel tower that bore his name. The revolving door opened. A boy in tattered clothes slipped past security, gripped Liam's wrist, and whispered through trembling lips, "Dad." Liam froze. The boy's eyes matched Finn's exactly. If Finn was alive, who had been lying in those ashes? Who had orchestrated that hell? The financial district stretched under a bruised October sky, glass towers reflecting the storm. Corbin Tech Tower rose 30 floors, its facade a lattice of steel and ambition. Reporters clustered beneath black umbrellas, cameras clicking as the legendary CEO emerged. 5 years ago, Liam Corbin had vanished the night his wife Amanda and their 4-year-old son Finn died in a house fire. Now, at 38, he returned to finalize a merger and bury the past for good. Liam moved through the lobby with the practiced indifference of someone who had spent half a decade learning not to feel. His assistant, Callista Moore, waited by the elevators, 35 years old, dressed in charcoal, her expression cool as winter stone. She had been with the company since the security division, back when threats were theoretical and grief was something that happened to other people. The boy stood in the center of the marble floor, soaked through, clutching a stuffed bear scorched black along one side. Security guards formed a loose perimeter, uncertain. The child looked 9, maybe 10, with dark curly hair plastered to his forehead and eyes the color of broken glass, vivid green flecked with gold. Callista stepped forward, her voice low. "Sir, protocol requires we contact child services." Liam barely heard her. He was staring at the bear. He knew that stitching. Amanda had sewn it herself, her signature cross pattern along the belly seam, the one she used on everything she made. His vision blurred at the edges. "Bring him to my office," Liam said. His voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. The boy didn't resist. He followed Liam into the private elevator, still gripping the bear. Behind them, a photographer's flash caught the moment. CEO and Beggar child. An image that would ignite the internet within the hour. Upstairs, Henry Drake watched from a monitor in the parking structure 3 blocks away. Former head of security for Corbin Tech, Henry had left the company 6 months after the fire, his resignation letter polite and brief. Now 45, with silver threading his temples and a scar below his left eye, he zoomed in on the boy's face. He reached for his phone. In Liam's office, the boy sat in a leather chair too large for him, feet dangling. Liam crouched to his level, forcing his breathing to steady. "What's your name?" "Finn," the boy whispered. The room tilted. Liam gripped the armrest to keep from falling. Callista stood by the door, her hand near her concealed sidearm, old habits dying hard. "Who told you to call me that?" Liam's throat was closing. "Who sent you here?" Finn shook his head. Tears cut clean lines down his dirty cheeks. "Mom said, 'Find the glass building. Find Dad.' She said you'd know." Callista caught Liam's eye, gave the smallest shake of her head. This could be a shakedown. Corporate espionage took many forms. Liam understood the logic, but logic had no answer for the way Finn held that bear, the exact angle Amanda used to cradle things she loved. "I need a DNA test," Liam told Callista. "Discreet. Fast." She nodded once and left. Liam sat across from the boy, watching him like a man watching a ghost solidify in daylight. Across town, in a mahogany-paneled law office, Vivian Larissa reviewed contracts for the merger. 39. Sharp-featured, with dark hair cut severe. She was Corbin Tech's chief legal counsel. Her phone buzzed. A news alert. Beggar boy calls CEO Dad. Corbin Tech in chaos. She closed the file, picked up her other phone, the one with no corporate account tied to it, and dialed. By nightfall, the test results arrived. Callista brought them herself, her face unreadable. Liam tore open the envelope in his penthouse, Finn asleep on the couch, the bear tucked under his arm. 99.9% match. Paternal certainty. Liam's knees buckled. He sat hard on the floor, staring at the paper until the letters blurred. Finn was his son. His son had been alive for 5 years while Liam drowned himself in work and distance, convinced his family was ash. Callista knelt beside him. Liam, breathe. He couldn't. His lungs were fire and rain and broken glass. When he finally looked up, his eyes were red. How? I don't know yet, she said quietly. But we will. That night, Liam sat on the edge of the couch where Finn slept. The boy twitched, murmuring in his sleep, words too broken to understand. Liam reached out, stopped, his hand hovering. He had lost the right to this. He had been 10,000 miles away, signing papers, while someone burned his home and stole his family. But Finn had found him, somehow, against every cruel law of the universe. His son had found him. Liam touched the boy's hair. Just once. Feather light. Finn's eyes opened. Immediate and wary. Don't leave, he whispered. Never, Liam said, and meant it down to his bones. The fire had happened on a February night 5 years ago. Liam had been in Tokyo, negotiating a classified government contract for Corbin Tech's encryption software. He remembered the call at 3 in the morning, the time zone lag making reality feel distant and negotiable. The fire chief's voice, detached and professional. Total loss, 2 casualties confirmed. Dental records pending. He had flown back in a haze. The house was a black skeleton, yellow tape fluttering. Henry Drake, his head of security then, had handled everything. The press, the police, the closed casket funeral. Liam had signed papers, shaken hands, and felt nothing. Grief was supposed to be a wave. For him, it was anesthesia. There had been one message from Amanda, sent 3 days before she died. Liam had been in a meeting. He'd never listened to it. After the fire, he couldn't bring himself to play it back. He deleted it in a moment of cowardice disguised as self-preservation. Now, holding the DNA results, he wanted to claw through time. The morning after the test, Liam brought in Archie Flynn, his old college roommate, and Corbin Tech's head of R&D, 37, perpetually disheveled. Archie wore hoodies to board meetings and could hack a satellite uplink with a 10-year-old laptop. He set up a secure apartment for Finn, installed a 3-layer alarm system, and swept for bugs twice. This is serious, man, Archie said, adjusting a motion sensor above the door. If someone faked those deaths, they had access. Deep access, Liam knew. He pulled Callista aside in the hallway. I need the fire report. The original. She was already ahead of him. I pulled it last night. There's a missing page in the coroner's section, the one that would have detailed the child victim's remains. His stomach dropped. They falsified it, or removed evidence that it was falsified. Liam drove to the county records office himself, not trusting electronic requests. The clerk, a retiree with reading glasses on a chain, brought him the hard copy. Page 18 was clean-edged, the perforation too neat. It had been replaced. He sat in his car in the parking lot, hands shaking on the wheel. Someone had planned this. Someone had burned his house, faked his son's death, and covered it so thoroughly that even the authorities missed it. Finn had told Callista fragments of the story. He and Amanda had lived in different places, always moving. Motels, rented rooms, once a storage unit for 2 weeks. Amanda was terrified of a man with a scar on his wrist. The description matched one of Henry Drake's former security contractors, a man named Victor Crane, who had vanished from public record 3 years ago. Liam pulled up every file Corbin Tech had on Henry. It was clean. Too clean. No one who worked private security for 15 years had a record that's spotless unless someone had scrubbed it. That evening, Liam stood in his office, staring out at the city lights, when his computer chimed. An email from an unlisted address. No subject, just a photo. It was him, holding Finn, taken through the office window. The timestamp was from 2 hours ago. Beneath it, one line. Curiosity has a price. Pay attention to the merger. Liam forwarded it to Callista. She called immediately. We're being watched. I'm pulling in an independent security team. Do it, he said. His voice was flat, cold. He had spent 5 years running from ghosts. Now, he was walking straight into them. By dawn, the media storm was a hurricane. CEO's secret sun surfaces led every news cycle. Corbin Tech stock dipped 2 points. The board of directors convened an emergency meeting. Liam stood at the head of the table, facing 9 people who looked at him like a liability. Vivian Larissa sat at the far end, immaculate in navy, her voice crisp. We recommend a statement. Brief. Neutral. Acknowledge the child. Pledge privacy. And move on. Liam met her eyes. No. The room stiffened. Wilfred Constance, 60 years old, white-haired and imperious, leaned forward. Liam, the merger with Apex Technologies is worth $4 billion. If they walk because of scandal, then they walk. Liam cut him off. This isn't about optics. This is about finding out who tried to kill my family. Silence. Vivian's pen paused mid-note. Wilfred's expression hardened. You're compromised, Wilfred said. I move that we suspend Liam's operational authority pending resolution of this matter. Callista, standing by the door, spoke for the first time. You'd need a 2/3 vote for that, and you'd need evidence of incompetence. Do you have that, Wilfred? His jaw tightened. The vote didn't happen. But the fracture was visible now. A crack running through the foundation. After the meeting, Callista found a thumb drive taped under her car's rear bumper. No note. Just files. She brought it to Archie, who opened it in a sandboxed system. His face went pale as he scrolled. What is it? Liam asked. Eclipse, Archie said. It's a black-budget project. Started 7 years ago. Buried in subsidiary acquisitions. It looks like weapons, contracts, shell companies in Delaware, routing payments to offshore accounts. He looked up. Henry Drake's signature is all over the authorization codes. Liam felt the ground shift. Eclipse. He vaguely remembered approving a defense consulting initiative early on, but he'd delegated oversight to Henry. If this was what it looked like, Corbin Tech had been smuggling and laundering for years. Under his name, Amanda must have found out, Callista said quietly. That's why she was targeted. Liam's fists clenched. Where is Henry now? Unknown. He's been off-grid since he left the company. Then we make him come to us, Liam said. We announce an independent audit of Eclipse. Full transparency. Federal. Oversight. We force him to surface. Vivian would oppose it. The board would fracture. But Liam didn't care. If burning Corbin Tech to the ground was the price of truth, he'd pay it. That night, he read to Finn a story about a clockmaker who fixed broken time. The boy listened with wide eyes, then asked, Can you really fix broken things? Liam smoothed his hair. I'm going to try. But Finn's next words hit like a bullet. Will you leave me again? Liam's throat closed. He pulled his son close. feeling the fragile weight of him, the reality of him. Never. I promise you, Finn. Never. In the kitchen, Callista mended one of Finn's shirts, her hands quick and precise. The stitching matched Amanda's, the same cross pattern. Liam watched from the doorway. You knew her, he said. It wasn't a question. Callista didn't look up. I was on her detail the month before the fire. She was kind. She noticed people. Why didn't you tell me? Her hand stilled. She set the needle down, finally met his eyes. Because I failed her. I was reassigned 2 weeks before it happened. If I'd been there, her voice cracked, just slightly. I've spent 5 years standing in the wings, watching you live like a dead man. I couldn't fail you too. Liam crossed the room, sat across from her. Callista, you didn't fail anyone. She shook her head. I should have seen it coming. The threats, the anomalies in the security logs. I flagged them, but Henry overruled me. Said it was corporate paranoia. Her laugh was bitter. I believed him. We all did. Liam said softly. For a moment, they sat in the quiet, the weight of shared ghosts settling between them. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her face changed. Archie says someone's bypassing the alarms at his place. Liam was already moving. The call came at 2 in the morning. Archie's voice, high and panicked. Finn's gone. The window's been pried open, and the alarm only flickered once before it shut down. Whoever did this knows our systems. Liam was in his car before Archie finished the sentence. Callista rode shotgun, her laptop open, patching into the city's traffic camera network via Archie's backdoor access. Rain hammered the windshield, turning streetlights into blurred halos. I've got a white cargo van, Callista said, her voice tight, heading east toward the docks. No plates. Liam pressed the accelerator, the engine roaring. His hands gripped the wheel so hard his knuckles went white. Every second was a knife twisting deeper. He'd promised Finn. He'd promised. They reached Dock 7, a sprawl of shipping containers and rusted cranes. The van was parked near a warehouse. Engine still ticking with heat. Liam kicked the door open and ran, Callista close behind, her hand on her weapon. Inside the warehouse, shadows and echoes. Water dripped from the corrugated ceiling. Liam's breath came ragged. Finn, a muffled cry from the back. Liam sprinted toward it, rounding a stack of pallets. There, bound and gagged, sat Finn, eyes wide with terror. 2 men in black tactical gear turned, reaching for weapons. Callista fired first, a warning shot that ricocheted off metal. They scattered. Liam lunged for his son, tearing at the ropes. A bullet whined past his ear, punching into a crate. He felt the impact like a shockwave. Callista returned fire, controlled bursts, forcing the men behind cover. A walkie-talkie on one of the men's belts crackled to life. A voice, cold and familiar. Liam. The past was buried for a reason. Amanda chose to disappear because of you. Henry Drake. Liam's hands shook as he freed Finn, scooping him up. The boy buried his face in Liam's shoulder. Small and trembling. Blood soaked through Liam's jacket, warm and wet. He'd been grazed, the bullet carving a line across his shoulder. He barely felt it. Sirens wailed in the distance. The men bolted, vanishing into the maze of containers. Callista grabbed Liam's arm, steadying him as they stumbled toward the exit. Rain met them like a wall, cold and cleansing. Police flooded the dock. Lights flashing red and blue, painting the night in fractured colors. Liam collapsed against a police cruiser, still holding Finn, his blood mixing with rain. A nightmare, looping endlessly, but Finn was breathing. That was all that mattered. They arrested Henry Drake 18 hours later. Facial recognition from a dock camera, a partial match to a rental car, and testimony from a warehouse worker who'd seen a man with a scar below his left eye led police to a motel in Newark. Henry didn't resist. He sat in interrogation, calm and composed, a man who had made peace with consequences. Liam watched through the one-way glass as the detectives worked him over. Henry's story came out in pieces, clinical and detached. Eclipse had been a weapons pipeline, funneling illegal tech to foreign buyers through shell companies. The profit margins were obscene, the risks manageable as long as Corbin Tech's reputation stayed pristine. But Amanda had stumbled onto discrepancies in the financial audits. She'd confronted Henry privately, thinking she could handle it internally. She couldn't. Henry had arranged the fire, hiring a contractor to make it look like faulty wiring. The plan was to eliminate Amanda and scare Liam into retreat, but Amanda had been tipped off the night of the fire by a nurse named Grace Pelletier, who'd once worked for Corbin Tech's medical division and owed Amanda a favor. Grace had smuggled Amanda and Finn out through a back exit, minutes before the flames engulfed the house. The bodies in the fire report? A lie. Henry had paid off the coroner's assistant to falsify the child victim's remains. Easy enough when the fire burned hot enough to destroy dental records. For 5 years, Amanda and Finn had lived in hiding, moving every few months, terrified that Henry's people would find them. They nearly did. Twice. Once in Ohio, once in Pennsylvania. Amanda had been injured in the second attempt, suffering burns on her arm and face when a hired thug set fire to the motel room they were staying in. That's when she'd made the decision to send Finn to find Liam. It was a gamble, but she'd run out of options. Liam listened to all of it, his face carved from stone. When the detective asked if he wanted to make a statement, he shook his head. Words felt useless, but Henry had one more revelation. "I didn't give the final order," he said, leaning back in his chair. "I executed it. But someone above me approved the budget, the timeline, the cover-up. Someone on your board, Liam. Someone you trust." The detectives pressed, but Henry clammed up. He wanted a deal, reduced sentence for the name. Liam left the precinct, stepping into the cold November air. Callista was waiting by the car. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "Find Amanda," he said. "Then finish this." Grace Pelletier, the nurse, had kept in contact with Amanda through a network of burner phones and dead drops. It took Callista 6 hours to track her down to a small hospice facility outside Newark. Grace was reluctant to talk, but when she saw Liam's face, something softened. "She's at County General," Grace said quietly. "Room 314. She's been there since the last fire. Her lungs. She doesn't have much time." Liam felt his heart stop. He drove through the night, rain turning to mist, the city lights thinning as they reached the hospital. It was a low, brick building, underfunded and understaffed. He walked the sterile hallways like a man walking to his own execution. Room 314. The door was cracked open. Inside, Amanda Corbin lay propped against pillows, an oxygen tube beneath her nose. Her face bore the scars of fire, puckered skin along her left cheek and neck. Her dark hair, once long, was cropped short, but her eyes, when they opened, were the same. Sharp, alive. Finn ran to her, sobbing. "Mom!" Amanda's arms closed around him, her breath hitching. "Baby, oh baby." Liam stood frozen in the doorway. He didn't know how to enter this moment. He'd lost the right. Amanda looked up, and her expression hardened. "You came. I'm sorry," Liam said. The words felt like gravel in his throat. "Amanda. I'm so sorry." She studied him for a long moment, her fingers stroking Finn's hair. I called you that night, she said quietly. Before the fire. I told you someone was threatening me. You said you'd call back. He closed his eyes. I know. You didn't. I know. Silence. Then Amanda reached under her pillow and pulled out a USB drive. Everything's on here. Henry's network, the Eclipse files, transaction logs, 5 years' worth. I've been documenting every move they made, every time they got close. I couldn't go to the police. Henry had people inside. But now, she coughed, a wet, rattling sound. Now, you can finish it. Liam took the drive, his hand shaking. I'll make this right. You can't, Amanda said, her voice gentle but final. But you can make it better. The hospital lights flickered. Callista, stationed by the door, tensed. Her hand moved to her weapon. We have company, she said, her voice low. Before anyone could react, the stairwell door burst open. Henry Drake strode through, flanked by 2 men. He wasn't supposed to be out. Bail must have been posted, greased by someone with deep pockets. Touching reunion, Henry said, leveling a gun at Liam. But it ends now, Finn screamed. Liam stepped in front of him, arms spread. Take me. Let them go. Henry smiled, cold and empty. Always the hero. Callista moved, fast and silent. She came up behind one of Henry's men, disarming him with a sharp twist and a shot to the knee. The man crumpled. The second lunged, but Callista was already pivoting, firing twice. He went down. Henry grabbed Finn, yanking him close. The gun pressed to the boy's temple. Back off! Callista froze. Her weapon trained on Henry's head. The corridor was narrow, the shot risky. One wrong move, and Finn died. Henry's voice turned venomous. This woman's been playing you, Liam. She worked for me. She was my inside line. Liam's world fractured. He looked at Callista, searching her face. She didn't flinch. It's true, she said, her voice steady. I was part of Henry's team. 6 years ago. I fed him intel, helped him bury problems. But the night Amanda called, when Henry ordered the fire, she swallowed hard. I couldn't. I warned Grace. I got Amanda and Finn out. I've spent 5 years making sure Henry's people couldn't finish the job. Henry laughed, sharp and bitter. St. Callista, you betrayed me. You think you're redeemed? No, Callista said quietly. But I'm trying. She fired. The shot was surgical, grazing Henry's wrist. He dropped the gun, howling. Finn wrenched free, running to Liam. Callista tackled Henry, pinning him, her knee on his spine. Hospital security and police poured in seconds later, batons raised, voices shouting commands. Henry was cuffed and dragged away, still shouting threats. Liam held Finn, feeling the boy's heartbeat against his chest, fast and wild and alive. Amanda watched from the bed, tears streaming down her scarred face. With Henry in custody, Liam returned to Corbin Tech with one objective: burn Eclipse to the ground and expose everyone involved. The USB drive Amanda had given him was a goldmine. Transaction logs, encrypted communications, routing numbers for shell accounts in the Cayman Islands. Archie spent 2 days decrypting it, his eyes red-rimmed from lack of sleep. This is insane, Archie muttered, scrolling through files. Henry wasn't just running this. He had legal approval. Look, he pulled up a memo, dated 3 years ago, co-signed by Vivian Larissa. It outlined risk mitigation strategies for Eclipse, including contingency plans for asset elimination. Amanda had been an asset. Liam called an emergency board meeting, bypassing standard protocol. The conference room was tense, board members murmuring. Wilfred Constance glaring from his seat at the head of the table. Vivian sat composed, her hands folded, but Liam saw the tension in her jaw. He plugged the USB into the central display. "I'm dissolving Eclipse, effective immediately. Every account will be frozen. Every transaction audited. I've already contacted the FBI." Wilfred stood, his face red. "You're sabotaging this company." "No," Liam said, his voice like iron. "I'm saving it." He played the files. Audio recordings of Henry coordinating weapons shipments. Emails from Vivian, outlining legal frameworks to shield Corbin Tech from liability. And at the center of it all, a name buried in proxy votes and shell company filings, Wilfred Constance. The room erupted. Vivian tried to speak, but Liam cut her off. "You knew. You both knew. You built a machine that laundered money. Armed criminals. And when my wife threatened to expose you, you tried to kill her." Wilfred's face went white. Vivian stood slowly, smoothing her jacket. "You have no proof. I authorized violence." "I have enough," Liam said. "The FBI will decide the rest." On cue, federal agents entered the room. Wilfred tried to run, but 2 agents caught him at the door. Vivian remained seated, her expression unreadable as they cuffed her. She met Liam's eyes as they led her away. "You've destroyed everything," she said. "No," Liam replied. "You did that a long time ago." The fallout was immediate. Corbin Tech's stock plummeted. The merger collapsed. Half the board resigned. But in the wreckage, something unexpected happened. Employees rallied. Smaller investors, sickened by the corruption, pushed for reform. Within a week, Liam assembled a new board, led by Serena Farah, a 41-year-old HR director known for her integrity. She established an ethics committee, opened the books to public audit, and instituted transparency protocols that made Corbin Tech a model for corporate accountability. It wasn't a victory. It was a reckoning. Liam stood before the press, cameras flashing, and did something he'd never done in his career. He apologized. "I failed my family," he said, his voice raw. "I put ambition before love, and it cost me 5 years with my son. I allowed a culture where corruption could thrive. Because I wasn't paying attention. That ends now. Corbin Tech will rebuild. But we'll do it the right way." The room was silent. Then, slowly, a reporter in the back began to clap. Others joined. It wasn't applause for success. It was acknowledgement of truth. 1 year later, Liam walked through a park with Amanda and Finn. Amanda had undergone skin graft surgery. The scars now softer, less angry. She moved slower, her lungs still fragile, but she moved. Finn ran ahead, chasing pigeons, his laughter bright and unguarded. He'd started therapy 6 months ago, working through nightmares and triggers. Some nights were still hard, but he was learning to be a child again. Liam and Amanda walked side by side, a careful distance between them. They weren't together, not in the way they'd once been. Too much had broken. But they were learning to be parents in the same space. And that was enough. "Do you think he'll be okay?" Amanda asked, watching their son. "I think we all will," Liam said. Finn ran back, holding the scorched bear. He'd refused to let it go, even after Amanda offered to buy him a new one. "It survived," he'd said simply. And that was answer enough. "Dad," Finn said, tugging Liam's sleeve. "Tell me the story." The clockmaker. Liam knelt, pulling his son close. "Once, there was a man who fixed broken time. He couldn't make the past disappear, but he could repair the pieces, 1 gear at a time, until the clock ticked true again." Finn nodded solemnly, processing. "And did it work?" Liam looked at Amanda, then back at his son. "Yes," he said. "It took a long time, but it worked." They walked home as the sun set, three shadows moving together through the golden light. In Finn's room, on a shelf beside his bed, the bear sat upright, its scorched fur a testament to survival. On the bookshelf, a small plaque that Finn had made in art class read, "Truth survives fire." Outside, rain began to fall, soft and steady, washing the city clean. Liam stood at the window, Finn asleep in the next room, Amanda in the guest room down the hall. The tower lights blinked in the distance, steel and glass and ambition, a world that had nearly consumed him. But here, in this quiet space, he was just a father. Just a man, learning to fix the time he'd broken. The clock on the wall ticked steadily, each second a small miracle, a chance to build something better. And for the first time in 5 years, Liam Corbin believed in second chances.